In this exercise, we're going to learn how to place a flat roof over the top of our main building. One of the things I'd like to do is come over here to where level 4 as well as level 5 is located. And that's underneath the floor plans in the project browser. Now, level 4 and level 5 are really badly named. Level 4 is our roof level. Level 5 is the top of parapet, which means the top of where these walls are located at. So let's rename these to correspond with what these levels actually are. To do that, highlight on level 4, right-click on it, and then go to rename. From here, type in roof and click on OK. When it asks, would you like to rename the corresponding level and views, just tell it yes. By doing this, you're renaming the ceiling plan for that level to be called roof. Now, realistically, we'll probably never place a ceiling on that level, but that's what it's doing. For level 5, do the same thing. Highlight it, right-click, and then go to rename. And we're just going to call this TOP for top of parapet and click on OK. Hit yes. We can see it's renamed it underneath ceiling plans as well. Now, because this is going to be our roof plan, at least for the main roof, we're going to double-click on the word roof underneath floor plans. And now we're in the roof plan view. Currently, we're looking down and we can see some walls. We're going to draw our roof in all the way around the perimeter here. To accomplish that, we need to activate the Roof tool from underneath the Architecture tab on the ribbon. Select on Roof, and before you do your first click, there's an option here that says Define Slope. This is going to be a flat roof. We don't want to have any slope, so clear that checkbox out. Next, over here toward the right-hand side, and most likely you won't have this box. If you do, click on the word Draw. What you probably see is this dialog box right here. In which case you want to select Line off of the list because we're going to draw lines that will indicate where the perimeter of our roof is going to be. Let's start picking points. So I'm going to click once. I'm going to come down to the bottom and click. Come over and click. As much as possible, grabbing the intersections of each of these spots. Coming straight over. I'm going to come over and click. Going right to the inside of this wall. Continuing to click all the way on around until we come back to our original point. After connecting all these points and we have this pink, purple, magenta line going all the way around, this is going to be the perimeter of our roof. And we'll want to click the big green check mark to that. Next, let's take a look at this in a 3D view so we have a better idea as to what just occurred. Here we can see we have the roof. Unfortunately, though, it now has walls coming up through the top of it. Now that's okay with these walls over here, but it's not something I want to have in these different wall conditions here. What we're going to do is we're going to pick each of these walls, and by holding down the Control key on your keyboard, you can highlight each of these interior walls. The next thing we'll want to do is bring these walls down so they're at the underside of this roof. We want to come over to the Attach Top Base tool that shows up here on the ribbon. Select Attach Top Base, move down, and then when the roof itself is highlighted, click on the roof. This will automatically drop the top of those walls down so that they're flush with the bottom of this roof. By going through these steps, and probably the most important step was when we clicked on roof, clearing the Define Slope checkbox, that meant that we would have a flat roof when we were done. So by going up to Architecture and selecting on Roof, defining the perimeter and where we'd want to place the roof at, and ultimately clicking the big green check mark, you can draw a flat roof in for your building. In this exercise, we're going to add a gable roof to this building over here on the side. Now, a gable roof is the kind of roof you see on many residential buildings today. And that goes from here, will slope up, come to a point, and then slope back down again. To accomplish this, we need to go to a level where we're going to place the roof. In this case, level 2 is probably going to make the most sense for us. So double-click where level 2 is at, then zoom in to the garage area. Once you've zoomed into the garage area, come underneath the Architecture tab and pick the Roof tool. When you activate the Roof tool, we have a couple different things that we should think about. The first thing is underneath Properties here, which type of roof do we want to place over our garage? And you notice that currently it's set as being a generic 12-inch roof. That's pretty thick. So let's pick on the type selector list and see if there's anything else here that makes more sense. Probably the one that does in this case is going to be the wood rafter 8-inch asphalt shingles insulated. Come up here to the edit type, move up here to edit structure, and when you do this, you can see each layer of material that makes up this roof. If you wanted to change any of these layers of materials, you could do that at this time, including the thickness as well as the material involved with it. Now, click on OK. Click on OK. Now we're going to start to draw this roof in. Move over here to Define Slope and put a check mark next to Define Slope. This slope is only going to be effective for 2 sides. So after we draw 2 lines, we're going to clear this checkbox out. The 2 sides that are going to have a slope will be this side, that's going to slope up, and then this side, because it's going to slope up in this direction. And they're going to meet at a point right down the middle of the building. Also, we're going to have a 2-foot overhang here. Make sure that the Pick Walls tool is selected off of the ribbon, and then highlight over one of the walls. Make sure that the dashed line is on the outside of the wall. If it's on the inside, it's not going to work because it's going to drain the roof directly into your garage. So make sure this dashed line is on the outside, that's the 2-foot overhang, and then click. When you do this, we can see that it's going to start off as being a 9/12 sloped roof. We could have that, but frankly, I don't want anything that's that steep. That's a pretty steep roof. Let's change that to be a 4/12 slope roof, then clicking out in the space to finish that command. Now we're going to do the same thing over on the other side, making sure the dashed line is on the outside of the building, clicking on the dimension, and changing it to a 4-inch. Now this is the important part. Clear define slope out because we do not want a slope that comes in this direction or in this direction. We just want this to be a triangular pointed gable end. So click on this wall, making sure the dashed line's on the outside, as well as this wall with the dashed line being on the outside. When you've done that, and select on the big green check mark. Now if you get a message saying, do you want to connect the walls to the roof? Then just say no to that message for right now, and you'll be in the exact same spot that we're at currently. Take a look at this in 3D. You'll see that your walls are in fact going through your roof, and definitely not the way that you want it to be. To fix this, click on each of these walls, and while there's a variety of ways to select multiple walls, the easiest for right now would just be to hold the Tab key down on your keyboard as you select on each of the walls. Once they're all highlighted, come up to Attach Top Base, select on that command off of the ribbon, and then pick on the roof. It's given a warning message, but its complaint is the fact that it can't create that top cap at the top of the wall. It's also having a problem with the brick soldier course that was at the top of the wall. I don't really care about that detail in this design, so we're just going to click the red X to get out of the warning box, click out in space to finish off the command. Then if we rotate this around by holding down the Shift key on the keyboard and the wheel on the mouse, we can see that this now has a gabled roof, and the walls are cleaning up fine at that roof surface. So to draw the gable, just remember, whenever you're executing the roof command, put a check mark next to define slope for each side you want to have slope up to make the gable. In this exercise, we're going to take a look at how a roof is actually constructed as far as its material properties are concerned. To see that, you have a couple different ways. You can either execute the roof command off of the Architecture tab up above, or just select on one of the roofs that are already there in the project. In this case, I'm selecting on the roof that's over this garage area over here on the side. And we can see that it's a basic roof, wood rafter, 8-inch. If we click on the type selector list, we can see a list of all the different roofs that are currently loaded into this project. Some of these are generic, which means they only have one material, and it's just a generic material, so it has no real material properties associated with it. Other things, such as the concrete deck, have concrete material or steel material associated with the steel truss. The slope glazing, it has glass material associated with it. If you have a roof that's sloping and it's made out of a glass panel, that's how you create it, is with a sloping glazing of the roof. But let's take a look here at the properties of this basic roof wood rafter. Just click somewhere near your drawing area and select on the Edit Type button. When you do this, you'll see the Type Properties dialog box. Click on Edit next to Structure, you'll get Edit Assembly. This has the thicknesses of each material that make up your roof. If you want to change the thickness of any of these materials, simply highlight in the box, type in the number you'd like it to be, and then click in another box, and it will make that change. I'm going to change this back to 7.5 inches, and then just click back in the box. So these roofs are constructed underneath Edit Type in the Properties, and then I'm going to click OK to this dialog box, selecting on the Edit button next to Structure to get to the Edit Assembly dialog box, which has each of the roof materials as well as the thickness of each of those materials that make up your roof.